those who already referred or had gone through the last lectures which we had, if you have any doubt from any particular unit or anything you want to discuss or you want me to repeat from what I taught, just let me know first. Else, I'll start with the next topic. Although you must have studied this topic, I think you all must have covered this through online mode, the project management and the network analysis.
Actually, online mode में जो classes है ना, उसमें it's not very clear. I could not understand the concept from that, so I did some self-study on that. So whatever I know is from my own.
Okay, but otherwise this topic already been covered. So I can be a little quick in case if you all understood it well. Only kind of a brush up of this topic I can do, or else whatever way you say. If you say that we didn't got anything, we really want it to be taught in the class as a new topic, I can take it that way as well. So before I start, first let me know, just raise your hands those who are having doubts from any other unit, and if you are having a ready handy doubt with you. Are you having a, yes, you having a doubt with you? Good. Okay. Okay, so one question which a girl had given to me, this is about decision making. Do you all remember the decision theory topic which we had covered? Under decision theory, we covered two broad categories of decision making. One was decision under uncertainty and second was decision under risk. For decision under uncertainty, we had covered many different criteria through which we can find out which particular option or alternative will be good for me based on the nature of decision maker. He could be very much optimistic, he could be very much pessimistic, he could be neutral about all the alternatives, their occurrence. So based on that, it was like many criteria was developed, mainly maximax, maximin, okay, Laplace criteria, Hurwitz criteria and Savage criteria or criteria of regret. That was for decision under uncertainty. How can you make out after looking at a question whether this question is for decision under uncertainty or it belongs to decision under risk?
Probabilities.
Right. So if for the events which are going to occur in future, for example the demand which is going to occur in future, and based on that I am doing my preparation at my back end. I, as a retailer, let's suppose I am having say 5 options of keeping a stock ready with me to meet the demand. Now what the demand will be, I am not 100% sure, that is really uncertain, unknown you can say, and depending on how much stock I kept to meet the demand, obviously my profit will be determined. Either I may have a shortage case if I keep less but the more of demand comes, or I may end up with excess inventory if I have kept large stock but my demand was very low. Both the possibilities are there, but the best option would be if I am keeping exact right stock what the demand is going to come. How to get to know that what will be the demand? If I have an idea about the demand through the past records, that let's suppose if I am having last 100 records, if this product is like I'm storing the data monthly for last 100 months, let's suppose if I am having a data about this product, how the demand came, So from that data, if I analyze and dig out that how many times high demand came or how many times a medium moderate demand or the low demand came, through that I can compute the probability of demand to be high or low or moderate for this time. What do you mean by this? Based on my past experience, and that too not just experience which is in mind, I am having a mathematical figure with me that the demand was this much in this month. So I computed the probability, and probability is nothing but out of, say, let us suppose 100 months, if let us suppose 70 months I had very high demand, the probability of having high demand is 70%, right? Similarly, I can compute for all various types levels of demands. Now, how this probability is going to help me? Like, as the rainy season is going on and looking at today's weather condition, we all know that any time it may rain. Let's suppose if I have to keep a like precautionary umbrella with me, what is the chance that it may rain in the evening? High chances are there as the rainy season is going on, and with like every day we are seeing that with this weather, as the humidity level goes very high, in the evening it may rain. It normally is raining in the past days. So based on the past, how many times with this humidity level, with this temperature at this zone, how many times it rains? So from that, what I am doing here, I am just keeping my umbrella with me or maybe any precaution. Similarly in business, in a similar type of situation with a similar type of environment, in the past, how many times this happened? That is going to help me to be ready to face the future. So with that, we can find out the probability of having any high demand, low demand, or, and then probability does not mean that we are going to have that high demand or low demand surely, but the chance of having that becomes like high if the probability is very high. If the probability is close to 1, we say that almost it is sure that this will happen. If the probability is close to 0, almost it is not going to happen. We are quite sure about that. Probability is close to 0.5, it is 50-50, equally likely I can say. In the Laplace criteria, we give equal probability to all the events. We assume that all the events are having equal chance of occurrence. In the Laplace criteria of decision making, under uncertainty and the decision risk, the only difference is there we are assuming, in the Laplace criteria we are assuming that all the events are having equal chance of occurrence, whereas in decision under risk, we are computing the probabilities based on the real data, real past data. So once we compute the real past probabilities, through that, now how the probability is going to help me in deciding. Let's suppose as maybe in this question, this is a question saying that an airline is contemplating whether to introduce a new sector. Okay, this is a question I think she has taken from the last question paper only, 2018 question paper, right? You had done this, okay. So for any business, it is airline business, they are having some good returns, average return and negative returns. These are the 3 possibilities which depends on whether they introduce new sector or they do not introduce a new sector, and they are the 2 options or available to them. 2 options है, मैं ये इंट्रोड्यूस करूँ न्यू सेक्टर को या ना करूँ. अब इंट्रोड्यूस करूँगी तो कुछ कॉस्ट है, इंट्रोड्यूस करने के बाद गुड रिटर्न्स भी आ सकती हैं, एवरेज रिटर्न भी हो सकती हैं और नेगेटिव रिटर्न्स भी हो सकती हैं. And the values of that is given to you in the question. And from the past record, the probabilities of having this is also known to you. Now, when you are given with the probability and the expected return from each of the alternative, what you do is you find the conditional value. First, you need to find the expected monetary value. What do you mean by expected monetary value? The monetary value with respect to each and every alternative that you compute is just by adding the प्रॉफिट विच यू मे गेट थ्रू दैट ऑल्टरनेटिव. मेरे पास दो ऑप्शन है, मैंने अगर पहले ऑप्शन को चूज़ किया, उससे जो मुझे रिटर्न मिलने वाला है, द सम ऑफ दैट नो मैटर विच इवेंट विल अकर, दैट इज माई मॉनिटरी वैल्यू. I can compare it with the other alternative. But if the probability is given to you, then you need to first multiply the probability with the return value to get the expected monetary value. Once you get the EMV, you will compare the EMV of all the alternatives available to you. Whichever alternative is having the highest monetary value, obviously that will be the best for you to choose. If it is the expected opportunity loss, the EOL you want to compute, for that you need to first compute the opportunity loss. You need to make the, from the payoff table, you need to convert it into a regret table, or you would call opportunity loss table. And then multiplying your probabilities with the opportunity loss to get the expected opportunity loss from each alternative, and then summing up for all the alternatives, comparing whichever is giving what, maximum or minimum loss. So जिसमें सबसे हाई होगा opportunity loss उसको चूज करेंगे, या जिसमें सबसे कम होगा? So the alternative having the least expected opportunity loss value, that will be the best for me. Okay. Now what is decision tree? I know when you need to do it, you need to do it mathematically by multiplying and then summing and seeing the figure.
Actually, I have something to add. In this question, is there a survey involved in this question?
What are you saying?
Is there a survey involved in this question? A survey?
No.
A research?
This is not the one.
2018?
No, sorry. What are you saying? A research one, a reputed researcher.
So basically, इसमें problem क्या थी कि इसमें research करने की cost नहीं दी हुई थी.
Whenever the cost is not given, let's suppose that is a fixed cost, and let's suppose capital X. Okay. Whenever the fixed cost which is you going to incur because of any new research, you take it as a fixed cost as capital X, unknown. But whatever that capital X is, have you seen any solved question similar to this? Are you referring to any book? No? I suggest, to everyone I suggest that refer to the book called Kanti Swaroop. I shown you when I came the last. That time I was carrying the book. Today I am not carrying the book. But that book is on operations research by Kanti Swaroop. Kanti Swaroop is one of the author, Manmohan is another author, and Gupta is the third author. But if you call it as Kanti Swaroop book, you go to any stationery shop in case if you are not having. Or maybe go to university library and get it issued. If you do not find that book, then I'll say that go for the books having the title either the operations research, and in that just look at to the index page. You will find out decision theory as one of the chapter. Do not buy a decision theory book. Do not refer to a decision theory book, but refer to a operation research book in which you find this as a chapter. Because decision theory, if you take it as a book where you will find detailed study about decision, that is not required for you. इतनी depth में नहीं जाना है. The syllabus which you have, for that the decision theory chapter from any book of operations research, or you can even refer to the books like quantitative techniques for management, having the title this by maybe N.D. Vora, it could be your J.K. Sharma, it could be Taha. Taha is a foreign author, but yes, the analysis part is very good in that. If you have time and you really want to enjoy doing these questions, all depends on your willingness plus the constraints which you may have. If you really just have constraint and the exam is there, so एक topic पढ़ के it cannot. Okay, so it cannot actually centerminal light is on my face. This side? Okay. So refer to those books first, and in those books you will find out many numericals which are solved ones, which will help you to understand that how to tackle such problems. Okay? Because once you look at least 2-3 solved questions, you will be able to understand well that how to handle, and in fact not just for decision theory, I will say that for all other topics of your syllabus. I can show you the syllabus as well. If you want, I can quickly show you unit wise, and for all the topics you will find the chapters in the book, the same books which I am mentioning you. And what the plus is that those books are having solved questions as well. So by looking at the solved questions first, you will be able to handle the unsolved ones, and your level of the examination is of that book only. You can find similar type of questions in the exam papers also, and you will be able to easily crack those, right? Okay, so decision tree is one way of representing the decision problem. Tree, why the word tree is used? Because as in the tree we used to have branches. From each, maybe the main stem you can say we used to have branches. So here also we are having many alternatives. Each alternative is having a possibility that with this alternative, maybe if this event will occur, what will be the return. So decision tree is nothing but the, you can say, diagrammatic representation of the problem which you are having in. And the end of the tree, we do whatever calculation we write there, that is nothing but what we do it through EMV and EOL criteria, the table form. Instead of doing it in a table, if you write it in at the end of each branch, that is what the decision tree is. Okay. Still, if you find it difficult, I give you 1 week's time. I think next week when I'll come, or maybe I'll take the online, depends on whatever the coordinators will say. We'll take up in case if it is still not clear to you. Okay. Any more doubt from any other topic? Are you knowing what all topics you have in your syllabus? Or you want a look of that? Yes? This is not the complete question paper. How many questions was there?
Actually, this is from very old pattern, 2018 pattern.
How many questions was there? What was the pattern, if you can tell me?
Actually, I think our pattern is not going to be the one that you are carrying right now. Our
Okay.
pattern is going to be a bit different from this. This, like 2019 का paper अगर हमारे पास होता ना, we could have made a better guess.
Okay.
But we have 2021 का paper. And
Why not we are having 2019 paper?
2019 paper is missing from the FMS aspect.
Okay.
I couldn't find it. I could find 2018 and
Let me try and arrange. If I can find out, I'll share with you. I shared the slides of all the previous topics through your coordinator. I think you must have got. What's your name? Yeah, as what Huda is saying that, please students, it's for you only I'm discussing, and you all the way have come from your home, sacrificing your family time. So please, you should take as much as possible through these lectures. What Huda is saying that to actually have a real idea about the pattern of your question paper, if you have 2019 paper, you will get a better idea, but that is not in the FMS website on the archive, it is not there. So let me check, because I know the faculty over there. So maybe if I can get the soft or the hard copy, I can scan and share with you. Give me a day or 2 days time. In case if I'll get, surely I'll share with your coordinator Rima ma'am, and then she'll share with you, right? But otherwise, what is the pattern? Have you seen the question papers? Out of how many questions? Why I'm saying, because someone has asked me that tell us the important units, so as at least by doing so we can pass, right? I understand starting में ना एक हमारा objective होता है that no, we'll definitely study, we'll not just study for marks, but we'll study for knowledge and everything. We start with that, but धीरे धीरे हम फिर वो ground reality पे आ जाते हैं कि अब time नहीं है यार, अब तो pass हो जाएं वही बहुत है, right? So whatever minimum with which we can pass decently, that is good enough. Now why I'm asking the pattern, because in case if there are 8 questions,
I think 8 question compulsory आएगा और 6 में से ना
Okay, so normally the compulsory question comes from the first unit which you have, which is about the modeling of the decision problems, the formulation, goal programming, transportation assignment, integer programming and all. So one question which is a compulsory question, what case study or the compulsory question, whatever you call it, that normally comes from that first question, first unit, which is all about formulating. What do you mean by formulating a decision problem or an optimization problem? What do you mean by that?
Defining the objective function and constraints.
Basically, every business, whatever type of business we do, we normally used to have some or other problems, day-to-day problems, maybe big or small, and the businessmen used to take decisions very frequently. For example, let's suppose a distributor came with some stock ready with him and asking that how much you want to a retailer. So, how much to procure? Quickly he may say that, okay, give me 10 units, or give me 100 units or this much. So, that is a decision what he is taking. Let's suppose a distributor says that, sir, the price is going to hike very soon. Market news is that next time this product will come at a higher price. Quickly a decision, the businessman may feel that, oh, instead of 10, let me buy 20 or 30. But at the same time, what he has to look at his pocket, because he has to make the payment of 30 units maybe. So that decision in turn is deciding his business, his profit. Every time a problem what is having, when we call it as a problem means some constraints are there which are binding him, which are stopping him or which are actually limiting him to take a better decision. Maybe like as I said, as the price increase is anticipated, he otherwise would have bought 50 units but is not having enough money for that right now, as he has to keep other items also in stock. So, he is purchasing maybe 30. So, here the constraint is money constraint. It could be that the warehouse where he has to keep the units, that may be having a fixed capacity, and the units what he is procuring necessarily have to be kept in the warehouse. So, the constraint is the capacity constraint. It could be the demand constraint. My customers are like, I am not having very high demand of this product, although the distributor is saying that the price is going to increase. If I buy 30 units or 50 units, and let's suppose if the item is deteriorating in nature and I will not be able to sell out all the units, then what is the point? I lose money in stocking extra units, and also I will be incurring holding cost. Holding cost is like उस चीज़ को स्टॉक में रखने में, स्टोरेज में रखने में मुझे हो सकता है रेफ्रिजरेशन की रिक्वायरमेंट हो, security, all the maintenance of the warehouse and all many factors which comes as a part of the holding cost. So there could be many constraints. So when I am saying formulation of any business problem, it means that translating the business problem into a mathematical form so as operations research techniques can be applied to that form and the optimal decision can be obtained for that problem. Because all the techniques which you had learned, like simplex method you must have learned through for linear programming problems, LPP, and for transportation problem you must have learned many other different methods like WAM, Northwest, least cost, and then optimizing through Modi method, right? Right. For assignment you have learned Hungarian method, and for different type of problems you learn different methods. But the application of the method is applicable to a mathematical form. If you have a paragraph describing your problem, in that paragraph some numbers are also mentioned, but in a paragraph form, if the problem is there and you want to apply the technique on it, like in the question which is here, you are given with a description of it, but Directly applying your technique requires it to be in a certain format. That format is called the structure of that problem, and every business problem can be converted into a mathematical form, and then based on its form a suitable technique can be applied to solve that problem. Whenever you are formulating any problem, first thing what is required? What is the reason why you are formulating this problem? What do you want? A solution. And a solution for a problem, definitely you must be having certain objective for your business which you want to attain. So it could be a profit maximization, it could be time minimization, it could be cost minimization or any such thing. So what is your objective? Why are you actually doing this business? That objective need to be very clearly stated in a mathematical form. That is the first part, or the, you can say, head of that problem. Every problem should have a clear stated objective, and that too in a mathematical form. I am saying mathematical form, I am not using the word linear form. If that mathematical form is linear, bilinear means
The constraints don't have any square.
the variables are not having the higher powers, the variables are only having one as a highest power. Mathematically linear, और सिंपल अगर लैंग्वेज में कहा जाए, लीनियर रिलेशन मतलब जहाँ पर दोनों के बीच में, दो अगर वेरिएबल्स हैं तो उनके बीच में एक लाइन फॉर्म होती हो. एक रिलेशन इस तरह का है कि एक के बढ़ने या घटने से दूसरे पे कुछ इम्पैक्ट आता हो, और उस इम्पैक्ट को जब मैं प्लॉट करूं तो वो एक लाइन फॉर्म में नज़र आए. तो उस मैथमेटिकल शेप को लाइन नाम दिया, और उस इक्वेशन को जो इस तरह के शेप प्रोड्यूस करें उन्हें कहा लीनियर इक्वेशन. तो लीनियर फॉर्म, अगर ऑब्जेक्टिव फंक्शन लीनियर फॉर्मेट में होगा और साथ में कंस्ट्रेंट्स भी लीनियर फॉर्मेट के होंगे, तो उस पर्टिकुलर प्रॉब्लम को कहते हैं लीनियर प्रोग्रामिंग प्रॉब्लम. आपकी ट्रांसपोर्टेशन प्रॉब्लम, असाइनमेंट प्रॉब्लम एंड ऑल अदर सिंपल बिजनेस प्रॉब्लम्स जनरली यूज्ड टू बी अ लीनियर टाइप. नाउ let me come to the advanced linear forms. In transportation, if someone asks you whether the transportation problem is a linear programming problem or not, it is linear programming problem. Is it just a linear programming problem, or it is some special type of linear programming problem?
There used to be a relationship. There used to be a relationship.
ट्रांसपोर्टेशन में आपका सॉल्यूशन जो आप निकाल रहे हैं वो क्या निकालना चाहते हैं कि किस सप्लायर से किस रिटेलर को कितनी यूनिट सप्लाई हों, राइट? हाउ मेनी यूनिट्स शुड बी डिस्पैच, ऑप्टिमल नंबर, सो एज द टोटल कॉस्ट ऑफ ट्रांसपोर्टेशन कम्स आउट टू बी लीस्ट. ओके, एंड कैन दैट क्वांटिटी बी इन फ्रैक्शन? That means the answer for all the variables, where here the variables are representing the number of units to be transported from the source to the destinations, that has to be integer. 2.5 यूनिट्स नहीं भेज सकते, 4.5, 3.5 ये नहीं चल सकता. तो that is why the transportation problem is a special type of linear programming problem which is called integer programming problem. Why integer programming? Because here the decision variables are restricted to take only integer value as a result. Okay? Now let's come to assignment problem. What is an assignment problem?
Assigning jobs to people. For an example.
Assigning jobs to the workers in such a way that the total cost of assignment is minimized. And there, what is the thing which is given to you? The efficiency or maybe the cost of each worker may be different for each job. So if you are given with the different jobs and different workers with different cost, when you are assigning, one condition is there that each worker will be assigned only one job, and each job will be assigned to one and only one worker. That is one great assumption of assignment problem, that every worker will have only one job and every job will be assigned to one worker only. That means one-to-one mapping will be there. No overlapping. Two person cannot do one job parallelly, or one job or two jobs by one person. No, not possible. What kind of problem it is? Is it a linear programming problem? Yes, it is a linear programming problem. Is any specialty about the assignment problem? Is anything special about the assignment problem? I am just giving you a recap, or you can say review of first unit, which is about formulation and solving the decision problems. The specialty is, here the decision variable is representing the assignment of ith job to the jth worker. Yes. So, xij, if I call xij as a decision variable representing the ith job done by the jth worker. So, as one job can be done by one and only one worker, so either xij will take value 1, and by the value 1 it will mean that the ith job is given to the jth worker, and otherwise the value will be 0, which will mean that the ith job is not given to the jth worker. So, if the ith job is given to the jth worker, xij will be 1, and if the ith job is not given, then xij will be 0. xij कितने होंगे xij? I और j क्या है यहाँ पे? Jobs and workers. जितने jobs और जितने workers होंगे उनकी multiplication करिए आप. That will tell you how many xij's you will have in the problem. If I have 3 jobs and 3 workers, so I will have 9 xij's. First job, first worker, first job, second worker, first job, third worker, and so on for all the jobs and all the workers. So, as the decision variable can take only the value either 0 or 1, because either that job will be done by that worker or it would have not been done by that worker. दोनों में से एक ही केस होगा, या तो वो कर रहा है या नहीं कर रहा है, बीच का कोई केस नहीं पॉसिबल. क्योंकि सिंप्लेक्स जो नॉर्मल लीनियर प्रोग्रामिंग प्रॉब्लम्स हैं उनमें आंसर आपका जो आ सकता है वो फ्रैक्शनल वैल्यू भी आ सकती है. ऑप्टिमल सोल्यूशन में आपको डेसिमल आंसर्स आ सकते हैं, लेकिन जब आपकी बिजनेस प्रॉब्लम उन डेसिमल आंसर को एक्सेप्ट नहीं कर रही, जैसे ट्रांसपोर्टेशन एक्सेप्ट नहीं कर सकती, 2.7 यूनिट्स ट्रांसपोर्ट करें ये नहीं पॉसिबल. असाइनमेंट में वो फ्रैक्शन, या इनफैक्ट असाइनमेंट में तो वो 0 और 1 के अलावा कोई और वैल्यू एक्सेप्ट ही नहीं कर रही, या तो करना है जॉब इस वर्कर को या नहीं करना है. तो इसलिए उन टाइप के प्रॉब्लम्स को एक स्पेशल कैटेगरी में रखा गया, एक स्पेशल नेम दिया गया बेस्ड ऑन द वैल्यूज विच द डिसीजन वेरिएबल्स कैन टेक फॉर दीज प्रॉब्लम्स. सो इन जनरल अ ब्रॉड अम्ब्रेला इज लीनियर प्रोग्रामिंग प्रॉब्लम. Under linear programming problems, you have general linear programming problems which may have any answer for any of the variable as an optimal answer. It could be any decimal value. If the answer has to be only integer, then it comes as a integer programming problem. If the answer has to be only 0 or 1 for the decision variable, then it is called as 0-1 programming problem. Now, this umbrella was of the linear programming problem, where only one objective, some set of constraints and some restriction on the non-negative restriction on the decision variables. Whereas, if in case you have multiple objectives, if you have more than one objective, you may have in business, it is not necessary that in business we have one and only one objective at a time. We may have many objectives. What if the problem is linear but having many objectives, then we call it as goal programming. There the term goal is used. What is your ultimate goal? Based on the priority of your objective functions, you will arrange the objective functions in an order. you will assign certain weights to your, for example, today you came for this class. You had, say, let's suppose 5 other things which you could have done instead of this class, which you sacrificed, or maybe you pushed it for some time. Okay, this this I'll do after coming home, this I'll do through phone, this I'll do tomorrow, something like that. So you had prioritized your objective for today. As you having this as a fixed period, fixed time, fixed day, you cannot alter this, but the other jobs could be of the type that you can do it in the evening or in the early in the morning. So और मान लो कोई पूजा थी घर में, वो सुबह जल्दी जल्दी करके आ गया, कुछ गेस्ट आने वाले हैं उनके लिए कुछ प्रिपरेशन कर दी, शाम को बाकी कर लेंगे, कहीं जाना था उसको हमने पुश कर दिया कि चलो इस टाइम नहीं, क्लास के बाद चले जाएंगे. तो क्या करते हैं हम रियल लाइफ में भी, हमारे एक साथ कई बार बहुत सारे काम होते हैं और हमें सब करने हैं, लेकिन सब एट द सेम टाइम हो जाए नहीं हो सकता. फिर उसमें हम क्या करते हैं, प्रायोरिटाइज करते हैं, प्रायोरिटी असाइन करते हैं अपने माइंड में. और कहा जाता है स्पेशली फॉर द MBAs कि यू शुड बी क्लियर विद योर प्रायोरिटी. And for everyone in, I think it's for every human, if we are clear with our priority, what we want out of this life, and वो तो broad मैंने question बोल दिया, out of this life, out of this course, out of this subject, उसको और further आप scale down करते रहो. Example मैं इस course के लिए बार बार आ जाती हूँ. So if you are clear with that, whatever is your highest priority, you will give the maximum weight to that. Then next priority will have a lesser weight as compared to the highest priority objective, and so on. And this way of solving the problem having multiple objectives mathematically is called goal programming problem. There are methods, there are techniques, mathematical techniques to handle each category, as I mentioned, 0, 1, integer, goal programming, or simple linear programming problem. For each and every programming problem, maybe a slight difference is there, but because the broad idea of solving any mathematical problem is almost same. So you will find, in case if you really spend some time in looking at how the different methods, how they are alike, yet with having certain difference. The difference is because of the specialty of that particular type of problem. So as you was mentioning, the transportation problem methods for solving transportation problem, they are nothing but, you can say, the modified or the easiest, simplest, simplified form of simplex only. You may not realize it right now because we are not going to spend that much time that we can see the translation, how the simplex algorithm solution is exactly doing the same as what the Vogel's approximation is doing. Okay, but exactly as the idea is same, so you will see that the steps are mathematically they are same, but in working it may look different for all the different algorithms. Okay, so as per this, is it not working or it got hanged because of this? Do we need to on, or maybe just by my movement of this? Anyways, the syllabus is all with you. I was going through the first unit for you. I'm just reading out. Is it working? So unit 1 is about model building for optimization. It was having sir, it is not showing my screen directly. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so as with this syllabus, you can see that the first part was actually highlighting about the model building for any optimization problem. Then you had a second unit about multiple criteria decision models, introduction to goal programming and modeling and solution. I was just mentioning you what was the method covered in the class for goal programming.
Actually, all that are there, I haven't studied yet. But in our online class, all methods were covered.
Okay, but in the syllabus, what is the one which is lexicographic method? Is it the L? Not. Okay, no issues. If you are not remembering the methods which you had covered, my request is that for this week, as this paper is little more numerical based, in fact it is almost completely numerical based, you need a lot of practice. For this week, every day take 1 unit, spend at least minimum 1 hour with that. I am saying minimum 1, depends on your availability, it requires at least 3 to 4 hours, because I don't know your background also. If you are from mathematics background, you had done your maths honors or something similar to that, maybe stats honors or something, you will be finding it easy to grasp, to do it. But if you are from non-math side, maybe a little more. So you know your better levels, accordingly spend time and see if you can find out at least the easy part of it. Your study material is with you, which will help you in looking at what all topics are there. It is getting hanged. So as per the topics and as per the headings, if you go, and along with that keep a book ready with you. The books which I mentioned, at least get 1 issued from the library if you can, or get 1 purchased, 1. Maybe a older version will go, not a latest version. Yeah, that's a easiest cost effective method. Download the PDF. I request and I suggest that if one of you are having a PDF, share it with everyone. If you are having a common group, it will help everyone. The PDF, you all have it, that's wonderful. So please refer to that and see what now what all from this you want to discuss more. Should I talk about PERT CPM, the project management, in today's class more? If you say. Had you done the waiting line models, the queuing theory? Simulation, types of simulation, Monte Carlo simulation. What do you mean by simulation? First of all, tell me.
Basically, if there is
What is the dictionary meaning of the word simulation? आज की डेट में तो आप लोग सब अपनी पॉकेट में नॉलेज तो नहीं, इन्फॉर्मेशन लेके घूम रहे हैं. देयर इज अ डिफरेंस बिटवीन नॉलेज एंड इन्फॉर्मेशन. लॉट ऑफ इन्फॉर्मेशन अवेलेबल ऑन इंटरनेट. If we get the information and we process it in our mind, it get converted into knowledge, right? So simulation as an English term is basically
artificially mimicking the process.
making a model of the real problem. For example, if this is a building which was constructed, say let's suppose 20 years back, before constructing, what the engineers do you have an idea? If any of you is from engineering background or has seen making a rough model about the building, where and how the building will look like. So why do they do that? What is the requirement?
To have an idea about how much material will get.
To have an idea about what will be the requirements and how it will look like, how the actual solution or actual building will look like. So to have an idea about that, and then maybe altering it if required. That is what the engineers do. Now what the simulation has to do in business. Let's suppose I am owning many restaurants, and the chain of restaurants going, and I am planning to open another one in Kamla Nagar. One way is I buy the shop, I start with my restaurant, and I'll experience whatever footfall is coming, and based on that my profit, my business will go. Other could be I just simulate. That means I'll make a model. That means on computer I'll make a mathematical model. Basically, if I am having a restaurant, what all are the things which I need to decide? What are the major things? Maybe the capacity, seating capacity. According to the seating capacity, I need to have the facilities. I need to have servers, the waiters. I need to have the cooks. All other requirements, the staff. Like the eating joints like Burger King and KFC, you all must have gone sometime or other. They have their counters. 3, 4, 5 counters they used to have. Okay. And the location, which is playing a huge role, important role in getting the footfall. And other things like the menu and everything, price, everything matters. But yes, now experimenting on the real problem with the real staff could be very costly. Start करा business, 6 महीने बाद या साल भर बाद realize किया कि यार कुछ return ही नहीं हो रहा है, तो loss में हो रहा है. 1 साल के बाद loss के बाद उसे बंद किया, जगह खरीदी थी, उसके accordingly मैंने staff arrange किया. Staff को तो you need to pay, no matter whether you will get the customers or not. You are preparing, or maybe semi-prepared food you are procuring every day. So all such things will go waste. If you simulate it into a mathematical form, there are many methods of simulation. Now in simulation, you will see that how do we get to know that how many customers will come? Artificially, how do we get to know? The random number generation. Also, not just purely random, we need to have an idea about what will be the range of that. What is the range that I can do by just having a market survey, that in this market with a similar type of eating joints, how many customers are coming usually. Now with that range and the random number generation, I can generate the random numbers for the demand, for the footfall, and I can see whether my business, my model is being able to handle that demand. What will be the consequences of having low demand or high demand? Am I ready for that? Like the example I am giving of Burger King or all such joints, what they thought of is, let's suppose keep the 5 counters. They keep 3 or 5 counters for serving. At the rush hours, what they do? They open all the counters. As they see that the line is like getting long, they just open all the counters. At the time when they feel it's not the lunch time or the dinner time or the peak time, they may not keep all the counters open, maybe 1 or 2, depending on the number of customers they are present in the system, and rest of the persons what they employing are of the type that they are multitasking. They've been able to handle the counter, they've been able to look at the back kitchen, they've been able to clean the surface and the tables and everywhere. So they are keeping the multitasking employees, also keeping a provision of expansion and contraction within the same business. That means कोई एक्स्ट्रा आउटलेट नहीं खोलनी पड़ी, कुछ एक्स्ट्रा एफर्ट, कोई मशीन उस टाइम अरेंज करना नहीं है. यस, अब 3 खोलें काउंटर, 5 रखें, 10 रखें, कितने रखें, क्योंकि डिमांड अनसर्टेन है. तो उसमें अनसर्टेनिटी में इफ़ वी हैव अ लोएस्ट वैल्यू एंड द हाईएस्ट वैल्यू, this lowest and highest, what we can get it from, we can get this value from the past data and from the market survey, market research, that what could be the lowest value, what could be the highest value. And again, there is no fixed rule that the highest value will remain highest. Maybe we will cross this highest value even at time. पुराने वाले में 100 से ज़्यादा कभी नहीं आए थे और अभी आज 105 आ गए. तो that is possible, but yes, the chances of variation will be very low. Now, before starting any business, if you simulate, or before, let's suppose the example of decision theory which you gave me, there, if you are going to start a new, this is a introduction of a new sector. If you introduce it and then after you experiment that, okay, let's see after doing it, what will be the business we'll get from it. It could be very profitable for you, it could be a loss one. So डायरेक्टली प्रॉफिट और लॉस को झेलना उसकी कैपेसिटी सारे बिजनेसमैन की नहीं होती एंड एडवाइजेबल भी नहीं है अगर आप उसको सिमुलेट कर सकें. सो द क्रक्स ऑफ सिमुलेशन इज दिस ओनली, दैट ट्रांसलेटिंग एनी बिजनेस प्रॉब्लम into a mathematical model and experimenting on that model. For experimenting, the different techniques are there. One famous one is Monte Carlo simulation, which normally is always discussed in the class also. This actually is based on the random number generation, through which we experiment on the model and we see whether the model is working fine or not. You will find in the book which I mentioned of operation research, you will find Monte Carlo simulation and the questions based on inventory management and the queuing theory or the waiting line management. Of the this is for the inventory or for the waiting line, you're saying?
I did not get a chance to study this in detail, but I think I attempted the inventory one. Flower shop the inventory का question मुझे याद आ रहा है.
Okay.
Flower shop में कितने flowers stock करें, कितना inventory रखें.
Okay.
There is a cost associated कि अगर कोई flower नहीं बिकता है.
So what will be the cost of overstocking and what will be the cost of excess inventory? Okay, so one topic which I noted for today is that a question based on Monte Carlo simulation for inventory and waiting line problem. This I'll take it up. Unfortunately, I'm not carrying the book right now. I'm not having a ready example with me to show it on the screen. But yes, I'll share with you the PDF of that question as well. Whenever next, if I'm coming or maybe online mode through, I'll discuss this topic in detail. But yes, the crux of that is what I gave you. If you can, with this knowledge also, if you look at to the study material which you have, I think you'll be in a better position to understand now. Okay? Okay, what more? What more is there? After this fourth unit, the fifth one is what I taught you, the decision theory. That is clear. Then after, वो जब तक लैपटॉप को काफ़ी देर शायद यूज़ ना करो तो हैंग हो जाता है, ऑफ हो जाता है. Okay, so unit 5 was decision making, unit 6 is project scheduling. Project scheduling. What do you mean by project? Project, the term project, have you heard this term before? I don't think anyone there in the class here right now who has not heard this term. प्रोजेक्ट वर्ड तो सुना होगा सबने, चाहे वो मेट्रो या कंस्ट्रक्शन प्रोजेक्ट के नाम पे ही सुना हो, प्रोजेक्ट वर्ड वहाँ पे भी सुना है. और स्कूल टाइम से हम प्रोजेक्ट वर्ड सुनते आ रहे हैं. द टीचर हैज़ गिवन यू सम प्रोजेक्ट, राइट? सो व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन प्रोजेक्ट एंड अ डे टू डे वर्क? इफ एनीवन कैन टेल मी. Yes. Boys this side, can I expect an answer from your side? What do you mean by word project, the term project? आपकी जो भी नॉलेज है उससे बताइए. प्रोजेक्ट मतलब क्या, क्या समझते हैं आप इस टर्म से? बताइए. आप तीनों में से कोई भी बता दीजिए. अगर आपस में सवाल कर रहे हैं कि कौन बताएगा, जिसको आता है वो बता दीजिए. सुना है टर्म प्रोजेक्ट? सुनिए. कहाँ सुनिए? किस चीज़ के बारे में बात करते हैं जब हम प्रोजेक्ट वर्ड कहाँ यूज़ हुआ? लास्ट आपने जब भी सुना या जो भी आपको इस वर्ड को सुनते ही माइंड में पहली चीज़ आती है, प्रोजेक्ट टर्म सुनते ही वो क्या आती है? किसने कहा स्कूल प्रोजेक्ट, समर हॉलिडे प्रोजेक्ट, सोलर कुकर आता है इनके माइंड में. थोड़ा ज़ोर से भाई, आवाज़ नहीं आई. इंटररिलेटेड टास्क, वेरी गुड. थोड़ा प्रोफेशनल टर्म्स हो गई. अभी तक तो स्कूल प्रोजेक्ट पे चल रहे थे, सोलर कुकर पे थे हम, बट चलो स्कूल प्रोजेक्ट ही ले लेते हैं. इनका प्रोजेक्ट ले लेते हैं सोलर कुकर. तो ऑब्जेक्टिव है सोलर कुकर बनाना, या स्कूल में कोई भी समर वेकेशन का प्रोजेक्ट मिला, एक टाइम दिया मैम ने, कहा समर वेकेशन ख़त्म हो रही है, हाँ मुझे 1 जुलाई को सबमिट करना है. तो पहली चीज़, प्रोजेक्ट मीन्स अ टाइम बाउंड ऑब्जेक्टिव. रोज़ाना स्कूल का काम करके लेके जाते हैं, दैट इज समथिंग अ डे टू डे वर्क, बट अ टाइम बाउंड ऑब्जेक्टिव इज द प्रोजेक्ट. A project is not just one task. It may have many different tasks of different type and nature. Like सोलर कुकर में अब हमें पहले एक हो सकता है कार्डबोर्ड से उसका स्ट्रक्चर बनाना है, उसमें कुछ ब्लैक पेंट करना है, उसमें कुछ हो सकता है ग्लास या ट्रांसपेरेंट शीट अकॉर्डिंगली पेस्ट करनी है. सो अलग अलग टाइप के टास्क जिनकी अलग अलग नेचर है. हो सकता है उसके लिए, अगर ये तो सोलर कुकर एक स्टूडेंट बना रहा है, बट अगर मैं कंस्ट्रक्शन प्रोजेक्ट की, इस बिल्डिंग की कंस्ट्रक्शन की बात करूं, तो यहाँ पे मुझे प्लम्बर भी चाहिए, इलेक्ट्रिशियन भी चाहिए, लेबर भी चाहिए, इंजीनियर भी चाहिए. बहुत सारे अलग अलग टास्क हैं. कारपेंटर भी चाहिए, बहुत सारे लोग अलग अलग. सबको काम करना है, लेकिन एक साथ स्टार्ट नहीं करना. एक सीक्वेंस है, लॉजिकल सीक्वेंस है बिटवीन द टास्क, जो इन्होंने टर्म यूज़ किया था. तो दे आर इंटररिलेटेड टास्क. अगर बिल्डिंग की कंस्ट्रक्शन की बात की जाए तो वी स्टार्ट फ्रॉम द बेस, बुनियाद रखी जाएगी सबसे पहले. उसके लिए हो सकता है सबसे पहले डिगिंग हो, सबसे पहले डिगिंग के बाद वी नीड द लेबर मोर. राइट नाउ एट द बिगनिंग वी मे नॉट रिक्वायरिंग द इलेक्ट्रिशियन, we may not be requiring the carpenter, may not be requiring the plumber. So उनकी रिक्वायरमेंट बाद में है. पेंट करने वाला जो आएगा वो लास्ट में आएगा. वो अगर फर्स्ट डे आ गया तो कोई फ़ायदा नहीं है. आई डोंट हैव एनी जॉब फॉर हिम एट दैट फर्स्ट डे. नाउ द टास्क कुड बी sequential in nature, in the sense first task got completed, I can start with the second task and then the third task, and this way. Or it could be that I can do many tasks parallel, if they are like of such nature that can be done parallel without affecting the any other task, or without you can say compromising on the resources. If I have enough resources for all tasks and they are of the nature that they can run parallel, I can do it, and this will actually optimize my project time. It will reduce my project time. So identifying the task is the first and foremost thing. For project management, what are the important, you can say, broad 3 steps?
Constructing the network.
First of all, even before constructing the network, this comes as a part of planning. Because when we are constructing a network diagram on the paper, we are actually listing down all the tasks and we are trying to arrange the task in such an order that they will be logical. A framework. Yes, you are asking something? Say again. Very good. Planning, scheduling and execution. So planning phase, as the name says, that in that phase we plan, and while planning, first thing we need to have is what all tasks will be involved, what all resources will be required for those tasks, how do I arrange those resources. I need to, for example, if I require a plumber, I need to contact someone. Maybe the pipes are required, I need to purchase them. So all the resources which are required and the task listing and their logical relationship, and in that the network diagram plays an important role, which comes under planning. Once you made a plan, a very good plan which is showing you, okay, I'll be able to finish a project by this date. Is it good enough for the project manager to have a very good plan but not look at to the execution of it, or not look at to the scheduling, how it will be scheduled? Like we do plan कि मैं आज जाके तो ये सारी यूनिट्स कर लूँगी, इस बुक से ये मैंने एक प्लान बना लिया, एक टाइम टेबल बना लिया, इतने बजे से इतने बजे ये यूनिट खत्म, and the plan is very good, it is showing me that in next 5 days I'll be able to complete, but I am not scheduling it, I am not solving it, I am not following it, I am not looking at whether it is getting followed exactly as per the plan, so it may not give me the same result as what I expected. So planning followed by scheduling. Scheduling is nothing but whatever you planned. As per the plan, you are scheduling the jobs and the resources you are making available. And then after planning and scheduling, what do you do the last? Execution is the most important. You need to see whether it is getting rightly executed or not. Okay, so the part which you learnt in your syllabus was mostly from the planning and scheduling portion. The execution obviously will, actually it is a real time thing, we cannot do it on the paper, but yes, the planning and scheduling, if not followed by the right execution, आपने बहुत अच्छा प्लान बना दिया और बहुत अच्छा से मैप दे दिया कि इस काम को ये आदमी करेगा और यहाँ से रिसोर्सेस आएंगे और बता दिया किसी को, और जो करवा रहा है उसने उसको करते वक्त उस पर कोई ध्यान नहीं दिया कि वेदर ठीक से काम हो रहा है या नहीं, कोई प्रॉब्लम आ रही है या नहीं, प्रोग्रेस मॉनिटर नहीं करी, कहीं कोई रिसोर्सेस, मान लो कोई डिफेक्टिव रिसोर्स आ गया, कोई रॉ मटेरियल डिफेक्टिव आ गया, उसको ऑब्जर्व ही नहीं किया, कोई अनट्रेंड अनस्किल्ड वर्कर आ गया, उसको नहीं ऑब्जर्व किया, तो क्या होगा, वो सब चीज़ें आपको एक्सपेक्टेड रिजल्ट्स नहीं देंगे। प्लानिंग में अब जब बात करते हैं नेटवर्क की, नेटवर्क डायग्राम जो आपने सीखा होगा सबने, नेटवर्क डायग्राम क्या करता है? डायग्राम वर्ड समझ में आ रहा है, दैट मीन्स ग्राफिकल रिप्रेजेंटेशन, पिक्टोरियल रिप्रेजेंटेशन। नेटवर्क, नेटवर्क क्यों कहा? नोड्स और एजेस, ये एरोज, ऐसे कुछ टर्म्स यूज कर रही हैं, आप लोगों ने सुने हैं ये वर्ड्स, एरोज एंड नोड्स। नोड्स, व्हाट आर द नोड्स रिप्रेजेंटिंग? Nodes are basically the stages or the events for any project. We divide the project into various events, or you can say the various point of times where we can say the milestone, this is the one milestone, once I am done with the base work, that's one point of time, I can say that okay, all the base groundwork is ready, next task can be assigned. So as and when we reach to that point, that we represent through a node. and whenever a task or an activity is getting performed, we represent it by an arrow. So an arrow is representing a work, and whenever the arrow is been drawn, it always have to have a starting and the ending node. What the starting and the ending node is for? For showing the beginning, when did I started with this work, and the end node will represent when this work got finished. So every work, whenever we are doing any work, obviously we must start the work at some point of time and we have to finish it at some time. So whatever time we are starting with, that node is representing the starting node and the ending node. Every two nodes will have one arrow between that. Every two node will have one arrow between them. Why? क्योंकि नोड रिप्रेजेंट कर रही है किसी काम का शुरू होना या किसी काम का खत्म होना. तो जब दो नोड्स हैं और वो किसी काम का शुरू होना और ख़त्म होना रिप्रेजेंट कर रही हैं, तो इसके बीच में वो काम हुआ होगा और काम रिप्रेजेंट हो रहा है एरो से. एरो में जिस डायरेक्शन में एरो लगा है, दैट मीन्स उस डायरेक्शन के आगे जो नोड है वो उसका एंडिंग नोड है. इस तरह से ग्राफिकल पिक्चर बनाने से क्या फ़ायदा होता है? नेटवर्क डायग्राम बनाने से प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजर को क्या एडवांटेज है? जब मैंने एक नेटवर्क डायग्राम बनाया तो पहली चीज़ तो मुझे ये पता चली कि मेरा प्रोजेक्ट, उस डायग्राम के थ्रू पता चल पाता है कि मेरा प्रोजेक्ट कितने टाइम में कंप्लीट होगा. तो प्रोजेक्ट कंप्लीशन टाइम निकालने के लिए, मान लो मेरे प्रोजेक्ट में 100 एक्टिविटीज़ हैं, उन 100 एक्टिविटीज़ अगर मैं चाहूँ तो उन सब की ड्यूरेशन ऐड कर दूँ और उसकी टोटल जो है उसको मैं कह दूँ दिस इज़ माई प्रोजेक्ट कंप्लीशन टाइम. But it may not be true. Why? Because there could be some activities which may go parallel, which can run parallel. If I have such activities which can be done parallelly, then definitely my project length will not be the sum of the time duration of all activities, but I need to see when I am starting with the very first activity and when I am finishing with the last activity. And the duration, the gap between the two will tell me the whole project duration. So first and the foremost reason why we draw the network diagram is to get the project completion time. This is the base on which I am starting my project. After that, I want to optimize it. अभी तो मैंने एक पहला, जैसे आपको घर में मान लो कुछ काम दिया तो पहले उसका एक रफ स्ट्रक्चर, खाका स्ट्रक्चर बनाया, लेआउट बनाया कि ये कैसे होगा, इतने घंटे में ये काम हो जाएगा, फिर इसके बाद ये कर लूँगा, फिर इसके बाद ये साथ साथ कर सकता हूँ. तो उससे अंदाज़ा हो गया कि इस काम को कितना टाइम लगेगा. अब उस लेआउट को एनालाइज किया, क्या कोई ऐसा काम है जो पैरेलल हो सके? क्या ऐसे काम हैं जिनमें रिसोर्सेस शेयर हो सके? या नहीं भी शेयर हो रहे तो किस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम पे कौन से रिसोर्सेस रिक्वायरमेंट होगी मुझे, वो मुझे उस लेआउट को देख के पता चल पा रहा है कि किस टाइम पे कौन सा काम स्टार्ट होने वाला है. उस काम के अकॉर्डिंगली जो उसके रिसोर्सेस रिक्वायरमेंट है वो मुझे उस टाइम पे अवेलेबल करानी है. तो प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजर है, उसको कौन सा काम किस टाइम स्टार्ट होगा और उस काम के लिए मुझे क्या क्या चाहिए होगा, कौन से टाइप के मैन पावर चाहिए होगी और रॉ मटेरियल चाहिए होगा और रिसोर्सेज चाहिए होंगे. अगर वो इन्फॉर्मेशन नहीं होगी तो वो कोई भी काम टाइम पे नहीं हो पाएगा. तो नेटवर्क डायग्राम का पहला पर्पस प्रोजेक्ट ड्यूरेशन पता करना, दूसरा पर्पस उसको ऑप्टिमाइज करना. ऑप्टिमाइजेशन में हो सकता है टाइम ऑप्टिमाइजेशन एंड कॉस्ट ऑप्टिमाइजेशन. कई बार प्रोजेक्ट्स ऐसे होते हैं कि उनमें मुझे टाइम फोरमोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट फैक्टर है. जैसे आपको कुछ देना है और वो फर्स्ट को सबमिट करना है तो उसमें कुछ एक्स्ट्रा कॉस्ट भी लग रही है, तो उस टाइम आप बेयर करें, क्योंकि फर्स्ट के बाद अगर आपने उसे सबमिट किया सेकंड को तो वो लेट्स सपोज एक्सेप्ट ही नहीं होगा. तो उसके लिए अगर आप एक्स्ट्रा कॉस्ट पे भी वो उस टाइम को मीट करते हुए प्रोजेक्ट कर पाते हैं तो दैट इज़ कॉल्ड अ टाइम बाउंड और टाइम बेस्ड प्रोजेक्ट. वेयर एज अदरवाइज इन जनरल the objective of any project is to minimize the cost. टाइम मिनिमाइज करते हुए कॉस्ट भी मिनिमाइज होती है या नहीं? अगर टाइम मिनिमाइज करते हुए कॉस्ट भी मिनिमाइज हो जाए तो विन विन सिचुएशन हो गई. लग यही रहा है जैसे इन्होंने कहा कि टाइम को कम करने के लिए मुझे एक्स्ट्रा रिसोर्सेज लगाने पड़ेंगे, ज़्यादा रिसोर्सेज लगाऊंगी तो ज़्यादा कॉस्ट बढ़ेगी, लेकिन ऐसा हमेशा ट्रू नहीं होता. क्यों? क्योंकि हमारी हर प्रोजेक्ट से रिलेटेड एक इनडायरेक्ट कॉस्ट भी होती है. इनडायरेक्ट कॉस्ट किसे कहेंगे? जैसे हमने लेट्स सपोज अगर कंस्ट्रक्शन प्रोजेक्ट हो रहा था, प्रोजेक्ट साइट पे एक ऑफिस बनाया, एक प्रोजेक्ट सुपरवाइज़र रखा हमने, ऑफिस स्टाफ रखा वहाँ पे हमने, गार्ड रखे वहाँ पे हमने, और जो भी मिनिमम रिक्वायरमेंट है उस ऑफिस स्टाफ की वो अवेलेबल कराई. जो कब तक मुझे फंक्शनल रखना पड़ेगा? जब तक मेरा प्रोजेक्ट चल रहा है. लेट्स सपोज मेरी प्रोजेक्ट की इनडायरेक्ट कॉस्ट है 50,000 पर डे. 50,000 पर डे मैं सिर्फ इसलिए बेयर कर रही हूँ क्योंकि ये प्रोजेक्ट चल रहा है और उसके चलने की वजह से जो मुझे अरेंजमेंट्स वहाँ पे रेडी रखने हैं उसकी कॉस्ट है. अगर मैं प्रोजेक्ट को एक दिन से रिड्यूस करती हूँ, एक दिन से जल्दी ख़त्म कर पाती हूँ, तो ये 50,000 की सेविंग होगी. अब इस एक दिन कम करने के लिए मुझे कुछ एक्स्ट्रा मैन पावर या एक्स्ट्रा रिसोर्सेज लगाने पड़े, एक्स्ट्रा मशीन, कुछ भी हो सकता है डिपेंडिंग ऑन क्या काम है. उसको एक्स्ट्रा रिसोर्सेज को लगाने में मेरी कॉस्ट लेट्स सपोज आ गई 30,000. 50,000 मेरी सेविंग हुई और 30,000 मुझे एक्स्ट्रा बेयर करने पड़े टू सेव दिस. नेट सेल में मैंने क्या सेव किया? 20,000. 50 माइनस 30, 20,000. 20,000 प्लस 1 डे, एक दिन पहले भी मेरा प्रोजेक्ट खत्म हो गया. इससे कहते हैं टाइम कॉस्ट ट्रेड ऑफ, जो आपके सिलेबस में भी है. प्रोजेक्ट क्रैशिंग टर्म से भी मिलता है ये. प्रोजेक्ट क्रैशिंग मीन्स रिड्यूसिंग द प्रोजेक्ट टाइम in such a way that its cost also is getting reduced. At many times we see that the indirect cost, if the indirect cost is too high compared to the cost of the resources which are required for getting it done early, then maybe by optimally looking at the project. अच्छा, अब क्या है, प्रोजेक्ट में ऐसा नहीं है कि रैंडमली आपने किसी भी एक्टिविटी को टाइम रिड्यूस कर दिया तो प्रोजेक्ट की लेंथ रिड्यूस हो जाएगी. यू नीड टू फाइंड आउट व्हाट आर माय क्रिटिकल एक्टिविटीज. व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय क्रिटिकल एक्टिविटीज? क्रिटिकल एज द नेम इन इटसेल्फ सेइंग थोड़ी क्रिटिकल हैं. जैसे कंडीशन जब क्रिटिकल होती है, व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन नॉर्मल वार्ड पेशेंट एंड एन आईसीयू पेशेंट? जहाँ पे आईसीयू है वहाँ पे ऑलमोस्ट डॉक्टर्स एंड सिस्टर्स 24 आवर्स ऑब्जर्व कर रहे हैं पेशेंट को, बिकॉज द कंडीशन इज क्रिटिकल. A close monitoring, maybe the machines and the equipments are so arranged in a way that every minute's BP, every minute's the heartbeat is coming. Whereas if the patient condition is not that critical, maybe just by a regular visit by a doctor in the morning and evening is good enough for the patient. So similar to that, when the activities are critical, when the activities we say that they are critical activities, that means the activities are such type that any delay in those activities will delay my project. Any delay in those activities completion will delay my project, and that is why they are very critical. I have to be very careful. I need to execute those activities very carefully that there should not be any delay in those activities. That means I should be very ready for these activities in terms of all the resources which are required. That should be very much handy, so as when I am starting with that particular task which is critical, I am having everything required for that task, it is getting done at the right time, and so my project will not get affected, project duration will not get extended, right? So if I am reducing the critical activities duration, then only I will be able to reduce my project duration. Whereas all the non-critical activities. By non-critical, as it's very clear that that means they don't require that close attention, and the reason could be that, for example, if say let's suppose this group is given with a task, 2 students need to do the task for first 3 days maybe of data collection, and then after once they collect the data, they need to pass it to the third student for compilation in a table form, and then after him the next 2 students for the analysis part, and last is for writing the conclusion and all. If the activities, the first 2 students, what they are doing, let's suppose the first student is taking say 3 days time and the second student is taking 5 days time, and once both of them finish with the task of collecting the data, then only it can be passed to the third student. So the first student is having a 2 days delay period available to him without affecting any other start of an activity, because the third student cannot start before the 5th day, before the completion of the first 2 students, and among the first 2 students, one student is taking a longer time, as maybe his part is taking more time and the other student is taking lesser time. So the gap between the 2 is giving me a delay period which is called floating time, or the delay time or permissible delay allowed for the project. Slack also, slack is for the events and float is for the activities. So when we get a floating time, the project manager can use it very optimally. How to use it optimally? For example, इन दोनों को कोई सॉफ्टवेयर चाहिए उसको डेटा को कलेक्ट करने के लिए, and that is a paid one, and if I buy it in such a way that for the minimum number of days I'll pay the amount and my work also get done in the minimum possible time, that is a win-win situation. So after looking at what all are the activities there, what resources they will be requiring, and how can I optimize those resources, this is what the project manager can take an advantage of the network diagram and can crash, or you can say the reduce, he can reduce the project duration. That is what all about project management. Yes. Look at the later questions, turn up the pages, you will see that if we are given with a network, the information about the project, what all things will be given to us as a project manager, either it will be given to me or known to me, or I need to calculate on my own the things like what all tasks are involved, what will be the duration of each task, and what will be the resource requirement. Based on the resource requirement, I can easily compute the cost of each activity. Once I have the cost of activity, duration of activity, and the logical relationship between the activities, I will be able to have a good network diagram. I will be able to optimize the diagram by reducing the cost and the time. You will find out more examples. Yes, better network diagram नहीं, network diagram तो आपको जितनी information given होगी exam point of view से बात करूँ तो you will be given with the information which will be good enough to draw a network diagram by yourself. So you will be asked with draw the network diagram, find its project duration, find its cost, normal cost. What if you want to reduce the cost, then suggest that which activities you will reduce and by how many days, and what will be the minimum cost which you will get. So that could be one question. Okay. And normally I think this question comes for sure. The project trashing or diagram, a network diagram question is almost for sure it will come. Almost sure I said, because I am sure this is one separate unit which is very different from all other units, so at least one question from this unit will come. So all those who was asking me, they can choose the topics like as it is getting recorded, I'm just saying it For those who really want to just pick the easy topics but don't want to go to the 100% coverage of the syllabus, I'll say that decision theory, one topic, same game theory is another topic, simulation is another easy topic, Markov is another easy topic. So I said game theory, decision theory, Markov chains, सिमुलेशन. अब आप कहोगे सारे ही बोल दिए, आगे बढ़ूंगी तो अब मैं जब लिस्ट डाउन कर रही हूँ, आपको पता है कि अगर मुझे 6 क्वेश्चन करने हैं या 5 क्वेश्चन करने हैं और 5 क्वेश्चंस फॉर 75 मार्क्स, लेट्स सपोज इफ दे आर, then 15 marks is for one question, and if I'll not attempt 3 questions out of 5 and that too very correctly, I'll not be able to pass. At least 2.5 क्वेश्चन तो ठीक होना चाहिए आपका. तो जो मैं यूनिट्स बता रही हूँ ये 4 यूनिट है 50% ऑफ द सिलेबस. केस स्टडी नॉर्मली फर्स्ट यूनिट में से फॉर्मुलेशन की और फॉर्मुलेशन के बाद सॉल्यूशन की आती है. 20 marks. So it could be like 20. Case study, I cannot say again कि किस पे आएगी, but expectation based on the past, again probability of getting it from the first unit of formulation, it's high, but yes, look at to the past exam papers. पिछले 5 साल के क्वेश्चन पेपर्स आ सकता है, बिल्कुल आ सकता है. लीनियर प्रोग्रामिंग कई टाइप है. ये ट्रांसपोर्टेशन, असाइनमेंट, गोल प्रोग्रामिंग, ये लीनियर प्रोग्रामिंग प्रॉब्लम के ही सब पार्ट्स हैं. इनमें से किसी भी फॉर्म, मतलब केस स्टडी बनाने के लिए थोड़ा सा उसको ट्विस्ट करते वक्त लीनियर प्रोग्रामिंग का स्ट्रक्चर पूछते हुए आपको ट्रांसपोर्टेशन पे या असाइनमेंट पे या गोल पे ले गए और वहाँ से सॉल्व करवाया. बिकॉज 20 मार्क्स इज क्वाइट, आपको गिवन नहीं होगी ना, फिर कुछ ना कुछ ऐसी इन्फॉर्मेशन होगी जिससे आपको टेबल पहले ड्रॉ करना होगा, उसके बाद उसके आगे फर्दर स्टेप्स करने होंगे. अगर केस स्टडी में आई तो ऐसा नहीं आएगा. अगर नॉर्मल क्वेश्चन, पीछे वाले क्वेश्चन जो आएंगे जो कंपल्सरी नहीं होते, तो ट्रांसपोर्टेशन टेबल नॉर्मली गिवन होता है एंड देन विद द टेबल यू कैन अप्लाई एनी ऑफ द 3 मेथड्स. प्रेफरेबली वैम लगाना पहले. वैम के बाद आपको स्टेप्स पता है ट्रांसपोर्टेशन के, याद है? सबसे पहले बैलेंस टेस्ट चेक करना. बैलेंस टेस्ट मतलब टोटल सप्लाई एंड टोटल डिमांड इक्वल होना चाहिए, नहीं है तो बैलेंस बनाओ. उसके बाद इनिशियल मेथड लगाओ, जिसको प्रेफरेबली वैम से लगाओ. अगर आपको मोदी मेथड नहीं आता और आपने पहले ही सोचा है कि मैं आधा क्वेश्चन करूँगा, तो आप वॉगल्स में उलझना नहीं, नॉर्थ वेस्ट से इनिशियल सोल्यूशन निकाल देना. एटलीस्ट इनिशियल सोल्यूशन करेक्ट आ जाए आपका, उसके मार्क्स स्टेप वाइज मार्क्स के हिसाब से इनिशियल सोल्यूशन तक के मार्क्स अलग हैं. इनिशियल से ऑप्टिमल तक के पहुंचने का जो स्टेप्स हैं उनके मार्क्स अलग हैं. नॉर्थ वेस्ट में और वॉगल्स में क्या फ़र्क है? नॉर्थ वेस्ट से ऑप्टिमल तक पहुंचने में आपको बहुत स्टेप्स लगते हैं. वॉगल्स जो है वो ऑप्टिमल के बहुत क्लोज होता है. कई बार ऑप्टिमल सोल्यूशन उसी में होता है, डायरेक्टली चेक करना पड़ता है बस, और कुछ नहीं. लेकिन वॉगल्स की जो कंप्यूटेशन है कंपेयर टू नॉर्थ वेस्ट थोड़ी कॉम्प्लिकेटेड है. तो पहले कॉम्प्लिकेशन उठाओ, बाद में कम, या पहले इजी कर लो बाद में मुश्किल. अगर बाद वाला करना ही नहीं है तो पहले इजी करके कम से कम वहाँ तक के मार्क्स सिक्योर करो. दैट इज़ जस्ट माई सजेशन. बट नॉर्मली ट्रांसपोर्टेशन में आपको मेथड के नाम मेंशन नहीं होते, लिखा होता है सॉल्व द ट्रांसपोर्टेशन प्रॉब्लम ऑप्टिमली और फाइंड द ऑप्टिमल कॉस्ट ऑफ दिस ट्रांसपोर्टेशन. देन यू आर फ्री टू चूज एनी मेथड. अगर लिखा है पर्टिकुलरली कि फाइंड द इनिशियल सोल्यूशन यूजिंग दिस मेथड, देन तो यू हैव टू फॉलो दैट मेथड ओनली. गोल प्रोग्रामिंग जो है वो लीनियर प्रोग्रामिंग का ही एडवांस रूप है. एग्जैक्टली लीनियर प्रोग्रामिंग में सिंगल ऑब्जेक्टिव, सेट ऑफ कंस्ट्रेंट्स एंड नॉन नेगेटिव कंडीशन. अगर इसी सिंगल ऑब्जेक्टिव को आप मल्टीपल ऑब्जेक्टिव में ले जाएंगे, मल्टीपल ऑब्जेक्टिव, सेट ऑफ कंस्ट्रेंट्स एंड नॉन नेगेटिव, दैट बिकम्स अ गोल प्रोग्रामिंग प्रॉब्लम. गोल प्रोग्रामिंग में नहीं, सिंप्लेक्स में लग सकता है, लीनियर प्रोग्रामिंग में लग सकता है, नॉर्मल लीनियर प्रोग्रामिंग विद वन ऑब्जेक्टिव, बिकॉज आप जो डायग्राम बनाने वाले हैं वो 2 डायमेंशन, अगर 2 वेरिएबल का केस है तो ग्राफिकल लग सकता है. अगर नंबर ऑफ वेरिएबल्स मोर देन 2 हैं तो ग्राफिकल मेथड नहीं लग सकता. किसका एग्जाम है? अच्छा, आज किस, इसी सब्जेक्ट का ये हो गया? कैसा हुआ? नहीं था दादा. अगेन मे बी अगेन इन दिस सेमेस्टर फॉर दिस क्वेश्चन पेपर आई एम एक्सपेक्टिंग वन क्वेश्चन ऑफ completely theory based to define the various terms or maybe just to describe the method of solving, not a numerical question. So you may get, बताइए.
प्रॉब्लम में ज़्यादा डाउट है ना मैम, ये वाला उसका ना सोल्यूशन नहीं समझ आ रहा है मैंने कैसे किया. हमने एक्चुअली यूट्यूब पे भी किया था बट उस पर था नहीं. कई मैम इसमें ना क्वेश्चन ऐसे दे रखे हैं कि क्वेश्चन तो हमें समझ आता है ना सोल्यूशन नहीं समझ आता.
Formulate the problem. Okay, the question is a modern paper mart produces paper rolls with a standard width of 20 meter each. The company receives orders of different widths. Okay, desired width 5 हो सकती है, 7, 9, कुछ भी width के उसको ऑर्डर मिल सकते हैं. ये गिवन है पास डेटा के हिसाब से. These widths are produced by slitting the rolls of 20 meter. The typical order received on one day is summarized as follow. I got one order which is desired having the width of 5 meter and the desired number of rolls was of, there were 150. The second order was of this much desired width and these many number of rolls. For the third order this was. Now 20 meter width roll can be cut according to the following combinations, because this width, when I am cutting this width out of the 20 meter roll, I need to cut the roll in different, there are the different possibilities. I can cut it in the
975 all total are 20.
No, 21 total.
What I can do is 20 meter width roll can be cut according to the following combinations to meet the requirement. One combination is I can have 4 5 meter 20 वाले को I can cut in 4 equal parts. So this way I can get 4 5 meter. अगर मैंने सारे 5 मीटर के बना लिए तो 7 मीटर का कुछ नहीं बनेगा, 9 का भी कुछ नहीं बनेगा. ठीक है. और ट्रिम लॉस यानी कि जो बचा कुचा रह गया 20 मीटर में से वो भी कुछ नहीं होगा, सब कवर हो गया. अगर सेकंड ऑप्शन है कि मैं 5 मीटर के 2 बनाऊं, 7 मीटर का 1 बनाऊं, 2 10 हो गए 17. ट्रिम लॉस कितना 3. अब ये 3 से कुछ नहीं बन सकता क्योंकि ये रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं है. थर्ड ऑप्शन इसके 2 बनाऊं, इसका 9 बनाऊं और इसका 1 बचा रह जाए. फोर्थ ऑप्शन इसका 1 बनाऊं, इसके 2 बनाऊं. तो दीज आर द कॉम्बिनेशंस.
तो मैम ये कॉम्बिनेशन अपनी तरफ से मतलब हमें कैलकुलेट करने पड़ेंगे,
ये आपको बनाने पड़ेंगे. ये तो कॉम्बिनेशन
अपनी मतलब
हमें कितने लेने हैं ये भी मतलब हमें खुद ही देखना पड़ेगा.
ये कॉम्बिनेशंस आप यहाँ देखोगे ना, पहले आपने इस पर सारा इसमें यूज़ कर लिया.
नहीं मैम कितने लेने हैं मतलब जैसे इन्होंने 6 ले रखे हैं तो
ये कॉम्बिनेशंस हैं, ये ऑल पॉसिबल कॉम्बिनेशन ले लिए इन्होंने, और नहीं बनेंगे कॉम्बिनेशन.
ओके.
ठीक है. दे हैव कवर्ड ऑल द डिफरेंट कॉम्बिनेशंस. नाउ आफ्टर दिस, नाउ द ऑब्जेक्टिव फंक्शन इज टू मिनिमाइज व्हाट. तुम क्या चाहते हो? व्हाट इज योर एक्सआई जे? एक्सआई इज द नंबर ऑफ रोल्स कट अकॉर्डिंग टू ith कॉम्बिनेशन. अगर फर्स्ट कॉम्बिनेशन के हिसाब से अपने रोल कट किया या सेकंड कॉम्बिनेशन के हिसाब से तो आपके पास 6 कॉम्बिनेशंस हैं. तो x1 मतलब है कि अगर मैंने फर्स्ट कॉम्बिनेशन के हिसाब से, तो कितना इसमें आपको ट्रिम लॉस है 0, इसमें कितना है 3, इसमें 1. तो आई वॉन्ट टू मिनिमाइज द ट्रिम लॉस. बस वेस्ट तो नहीं करना चाहती. सब्जेक्ट टू कंस्ट्रेंट्स क्या है कि अगर मान लो मैंने ऑप्शन 1 के हिसाब से बनाया तो मेरी ऑप्शन 1 के हिसाब से 4 यूनिट्स बनेंगी इसकी. ठीक है. नाउ
2, 2 and 1.
2, 2 and 1.